Hey folks, Tito, Jeff Thitoff here. Follow me on Twitter at FitHappens. Make sure you go to our website, fanstreamsports.com. Great new content added all the time. Lots of new shows added all the time. Please go and check it out. So, Steelers, black and gold. Let's do this. The Steelers have a game this week hosting Cincinnati and Joe Flacco. I dare to call it a must win, but it kind of is a must win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me tell you why. They've got a 1-game lead on the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens take on Cleveland this weekend. Ravens should get an easy win on Sunday for that one. But the Steelers, the way they've lost 3 of their last 4, and now after having a stranglehold on the AFC North, they're now hanging on by a mere thread in this division. The Steelers defense needs to show up. It has been very much an up and down season for this Steelers defense. Going back and looking at some of the games they've had, I mean, they gave up 32 points to the Jets to start the season off. They lost the Seahawks, giving up 31. They beat the Patriots 21-14, but Pittsburgh caused, I think it was 5 turnovers in that game. Was it 5 or 6? Nonetheless, they caused at least 5 turnovers in that game and barely won. Knocked off the Vikings, beat the Browns, then gave up 33 to the Bengals in Cincinnati, gave up 35 to the Packers in that bad Sunday night loss, knocked off the Colts, another great defensive effort there, multiple turnovers of 5 or 6, I can't remember off the top of my head, I think it might have been 5 in that one also, but anyway, caused all those turnovers and won that one just by 7. So they've got 2 games they've caused at least 5 turnovers in and only won by 7 each time. That's not a good sign. I don't know if that's more about the offense or the defense. We'll talk about that. And then lose to the Chargers in a very winnable game on Sunday night last week. So they get the Bengals this week. And the offense has underperformed lately. They did not look good against the Chargers. I still believe in Aaron Rodgers. I still believe in this team as far as getting into the playoffs. But if they don't win this weekend, the Steelers are not going to win the AFC North. That's all there is to it. They're not going to the AFC North if they don't win this weekend because Baltimore is going to beat Cleveland. Their games after this, they're at the Bears. So the Steelers, you've got to look at what are winnable games. Host the Bengals this weekend? Yes. At the Bears? Winnable? Yes. So that gives them 2 more wins, gets them to 7. Then they are host the Bills? Maybe. At the Ravens? Not likely. Host the Dolphins? Yes. At the Lions? Not likely. At the Browns? Yes. Host the Ravens? Who knows? So that's their schedule the rest of the way. This Steelers team is not built to win games they shouldn't win. The Colts game notwithstanding. Now, the Patriots, they played them. The Patriots now would not be a winnable game. Back then, it was a winnable game. But looking at this schedule now, though, these games they've got, they're the winnable games, the Steelers are going to have to win if they want to host a first-round playoff game. If they get into the playoffs without winning the division, they're going to have a tough road because they'll probably be the 6 or 7 seed, I would think. I don't think it'll be the 5 seed. They'll probably be the 6 or 7 seed if they get in without winning the division. That'd be a tough matchup for them. So look at this with the Steelers this weekend. They need a win. The offense needs to show up. More importantly, the defense does. The defense is what's going to determine this team's fate this season. They've got the highest paid defense. I think it's the 4th year in a row. They've had the highest, the most money spent on defense as far as percentage of salary, the millions they spend on the defense on salaries. And the Steelers defense has been wildly inconsistent this year. I'm not sure why. I expected it to be a strength. And the hell of it is when it is a strength, they win. When it's not a strength, they seem to lose. So, and the fact the fact they've covered, had at least 5 turnovers they forced in 2 different games and only won by 7 each game is not a good stat. Looking at the offense, so I thought about this today. Aaron Rodgers, I think, has been about what should be happening with Aaron Rodgers right now. You can't look at how he did in the first 7 games last year with the Jets. You have to look at the last 10 when he was finally over the Achilles injury. And he was above average in those 10 games. I think he's been above average this year for the most part. The Chargers game was not a good game for the Steelers offense, no doubt about that. And they admit that. The Steelers offense failed in the Chargers game. But if you look back, can you start questioning if this Steelers coaching staff and front office can evaluate quarterbacks? Now, Aaron Rodgers was a kind of an oddity in there because We know what Aaron Rodgers is capable of. We knew he came off the injury. And the fact he's doing better than probably better than he did with the Jets ever in the 7 games, 17 and a half games, 7 and a half. In the games he played for the Jets, he's been better than that overall. He's certainly better than the first 7 games last year he had with the Jets. But other than that, have the Steelers done a decent job at all of evaluating quarterbacks? Look at, they spent a first round pick on Kenny Pickett. They signed or traded, they got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson last year. Justin Fields, I still think is a good quarterback who could have a good future, but he's just had tough situations with the Bears. It was awful for him. With the Jets, it's awful this year. The Steelers benched him and played Russell Wilson after Fields had done pretty well, I thought, early on. But Fields has struggled this year for the Jets. Russell Wilson is the number 3 quarterback for the Giants. Those are the guys they had here last year, and before that, they had Kenny Pickett. So I think it's fair to start questioning some of the personnel decisions the Steelers are making and have made in recent years. George Pickens. George Pickens, I think, was a decent draft pick. He's doing very well in Dallas. He can't be a number 1. I think if he were here in Pittsburgh this year as a number 2 to DK Metcalf, that would have been great for the Steelers. Didn't happen. I would love to see a DK Metcalf and George Pickens combo, though. But he's obviously went to Dallas there in that deal, and now he's playing for a contract. So he's playing very well for Dallas. He really is. I wish he were still in Pittsburgh. But the Steelers, so they spend a high draft pick on Pickens, and then now he's with Dallas. The Pickett thing, yes, a mistake as well. The running back situation, it's Najee Harris it was not a good move there either. So you have to start to wonder about the Steelers and how they evaluate people on the offense. And you can say the same thing about the defense, because this defense, being the highest paid defense in the league, should be better. I don't know who the fall guy will be if the Steelers fade down the stretch. Will it be Tomlin? Will it be someone? Will it be, somebody else in the front office? Could it be that? But the fact the Steelers have had so much bad luck's not the word. They have failed so often in the draft, it feels like, that somebody needs to be held accountable for that. And personnel decisions, I love the DK Metcalf signing. I still love the Aaron Rodgers signing as well. I don't know if he's back for 2 years or not. But, Jalen Warren's been good, but you have to wonder about some of the other personnel decisions they've made. Is the offensive line markedly better after spending draft capital on offensive linemen? Is the defense better? Is the defense living up to expectations as the highest paid defense in football? It's tough questions now. I do believe Mike Tomlin is still a great coach, but something needs to be done. If the Steelers somehow blow this division, and it's very possible, the Ravens now are the betting favorite. If the Steelers somehow blow this division, if they get into the playoffs as a 6 or 7 seed or miss the playoffs, I think there needs to be some hard questions asked of Steelers personnel. And that is Mike Tomlin, yes, and others. So we'll see what happens. I hope all of this is just me overreacting and the Steelers get a win against Cincinnati this weekend at home. They should be their 5.5-point favorite. But the way the schedule's set up, and they self-play the Ravens twice, this Steelers defense is under a microscope. So is Aaron Rodgers. So is Mike Tomlin. We'll talk next time, folks. Black and Gold Blitz. I'm Tito, Jeff Thitoff. Follow me on Twitter @ThatHappens. Go to fanstreamsports.com. Check out the website. Lots of great new stuff added all the time. We'll talk to you again after, hopefully, a Steelers win.